Our two special guests today are the living examples of how religion can actually bring peace. And what makes them very special is that these two religious leaders once the biggest enemy, and they were really at the heart of the conflict, and they were really want to kill each other. So, but now they work together. They are best friends, and they make their hometown Kaduna in the northern Nigeria. They make it the better place, the place for peace and love. And from Kaduna, they also replicate the program to other African countries. So from Kaduna to Nigeria, to Africa, to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your warmest welcome to Imam Muhammad Asafa and Pastor James Huye. Please to on stage. Thank you. So before this event, we already played the movie, the documentary film, and also in some other places like Katedral and at Koalisi Seni Indonesia, and also at IFI Jogja. Thank you, Imam and Pastor, Father James. Nagode.
Nagode, sama-sama.
Sama-sama. Sebelum kita memulai acara lebih lanjut, yaitu adalah acara utama kita, kuliah umum dari Pastor dan Imam, saya akan mempersilahkan dulu orang-orang di balik acara ini bisa terwujud. Sebetulnya ada 4 lembaga yang harus saya lihat dulu contekannya, maaf, karena banyak. Jadi memang suatu upaya yang besar itu tidak bisa berdiri sendiri dan butuh banyak sekali kerjasama lembaga untuk mewujudkan acara ini. Yang pertama adalah Pusat Studi Agama dan Demokrasi dari Yayasan Paramadina, kemudian Magister Perdamaian dan Resolusi Konflik UGM, Program Studi Agama dan Lintas Budaya UGM, Yogyakarta, juga Lembaga Antar Iman Maluku di Ambon. Dan untuk itu Pak Jeki Manuputi akan mewakili ya, Pak Jeki dari Lembaga Antar Iman Maluku akan mewakili dari sisi penyelenggara. Silakan Pak Jeki.
Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu, semoga damai menjadi bagian bersama kita. Saya berdiri di sini ya mewakili teman-teman ya yang menyelenggarakan ini, tetapi juga karena saya dengan James dan Asafa, dan juga ada satu pekerja perdamaian yang di belakang. I would like to introduce you to the Ibu Maria Ida Gugianto, ya Ibu Deng. Please, Ibu Deng. Yeah, she's about to leave by 20 minutes left to go to the airport. Ibu Deng is the women peacemaker from Mindanao, who's dedicated herself for over 2 decades, working for peace, building peace in Filipino. Thank you. Ya, Ibu Deng, Imam Sahabat, Pastor James, dan saya adalah pekerja-pekerja perdamaian di dalam jaringan Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum itu satu lembaga non-profit di Amerika yang bekerja untuk isu-isu perdamaian berbasis agama, faith-based peace building. Jadi Tannenbaum memberikan award secara reguler kepada orang-orang yang bekerja dengan motivasi agama untuk membangun perdamaian di seluruh dunia. Dan Pastor James dan Imam Asafa adalah bagian dari itu, juga Ibu Deng. Nah, kami punya program ya dengan Tannenbaum yang namanya Peacemaker Intervention Programs. Jadi secara regular juga teman-teman pekerja perdamaian saling mengunjungi ya wilayah masing-masing saling memperkuat, saling berbagi. Dari tahun 2016 kami punya retreat di New York dan saya dengan Ibu Deng bilang oke, ini bagian kita kali ini Asian intervention. Jadi bulan yang lalu kami ke Mindanao bekerja dengan Ibu Den selama 1 minggu, ya. Lalu kemudian sekarang ke Indonesia, ya, kita di Jogja dan juga di Jakarta. Nah yang datang kali ini James dan Asafa, ya, Pastor James dan Imam Asafa. Di Tannenbaum ada banyak sekali teman-teman yang bekerja sama dan tersebar di berbagai negara. Nah, kami sangat bersyukur karena gagasan ini bersambut juga dengan keinginan teman-teman dan kerja keras teman-teman dari Pusat Paramadina, dari MPRK UGM, ya kami dari lembaga, saya dari lembaga Iman Maluku, ya yang sudah lama juga ingin mengundang mereka untuk mengundang James dan Asafa dan juga kerja perdamaian yang lain, ya, untuk memberikan bukti bahwa ada banyak orang yang bekerja dengan motivasi agama-agama dan itu jalan. Bahwa agama-agama bisa menjadi prime mover untuk perdamaian, bukan saja untuk konflik. Dan itu yang mau kami tunjukkan, kami bawakan dalam kehadiran atau melalui kehadiran imam dan pastor yang videonya juga sudah ditonton banyak sekali. Ya, saya bahkan sebelum bertemu dengan mereka sudah memakai film The Imam and the Pastor untuk diskusi-diskusi dan studi-studi perdamaian yang dibangun di kelompok-kelompok basis. Karena itu lewat kesempatan ini kami mengucapkan terima kasih tentunya kepada teman-teman penyelenggara, Bang Ihsan Ali Fauzi, ya, Pak Zen dari MPRK, dari CRCS, kemudian juga kayak Debra dari Tifa Foundation yang membantu membiayai kegiatan ya selama di sini dan di Jogja, Pak Darmawan, ya yang baru hari ini bergabung dengan kami, kemarin di Jogja nggak sempat. Dan juga ya ada satu teman kami yang saya ingin mengambil waktu sedikit untuk hening sejenak, Pak Samsuri Rizal Panggabean, ya, yang meninggal ketika kami sedang mempersiapkan kegiatan ini bulan lalu, karena dia terlibat sejak awal mendorong dan memotivasi proses-proses bersama kami. Jadi pada kesempatan ini saya ingin bilang bahwa 2 kegiatan di Jogja dan di sini juga kami dedikasikan untuk Mas Rizal yang sudah lebih dahulu mendahului kami, dan kami berkomitmen untuk melanjutkan kerja-kerja dan inisiatif-inisiatif perdamaian yang dia bangun selama ini sepanjang tahun-tahun pekerjaan dia. Saya mohon waktu sebentar untuk bergabung dengan saya, kita masuk di dalam hening seketika. Terima kasih. Last but not least, I would like to convey my deep gratitude to you both, Brother Imam Sava and Pastor Jen, and also Ibu Den. Thank you for coming. Yeah, it is a way we work together to strengthen one another, to share all the source and capacity, and share all the challenge also, and the treat and the way we deal with that during the time. So hopefully it can inspire the audience as we did in Yogyakarta, but also here. Mohon maaf karena seharusnya ini berlangsung sebelumnya, sebelum kami ke Jogja, karena sudah dipublikasikan, tetapi ada masalah teknis penerbangan membuat mereka tidak bisa nyampe pada hari itu, sehingga tertunda 1 hari. Karena itu kami putuskan sudah setelah Jogja kami kembali ke sini, dan thanks so much for Paramadina University for such great facility that you give to us today. Hopefully you enjoy this public lecture this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much Pak Jeki. Dan acara ini tidak mungkin dapat terwujud tanpa dukungan penuh dari Yayasan Tifa. Saya akan mengundang Direktur Eksekutif Pak Darmawan Triwibowo untuk naik ke panggung untuk memberikan speech-nya. Silakan Pak.
Thank you Pak Jeki. Pak Jeki sudah memberikan konteks tentang acara ini ke teman-teman yang hadir di sini. Saya akan mengerti. So I will make a short speech just to address Imam and Pastor to bridge between the opening and also public lecture. So let me quote French essayist and moralist Joseph Joubert that once said, God is easy to understand as long as you don't try to explain him. So my parents did only a little explanation when they made a conscious decision to send my sibling and I to a Catholic school 40 years ago when we were 5. When we asked them why, they just say that, well, God is kind, He is merciful, and He speaks in many languages. So just try to understand. And religion is a delicate issue that you could deal later on when you older and hopefully wiser. But such a blank check could be confusing for us. Indeed, it was confusing. And nowadays, that kind of decision can be considered as reckless or ignorant to leave the education of your children to a faith-based institution that's different from yours. But now, looking back, I am very grateful for the decision. Because what? Because it gives me a proper foundations to understand God as the Al-Bari, the one who created form of nothing with no model of similarities. And the foundation is the willingness to embrace the unknown, the willingness to learn about Him from the lens of others who speak His different lingues. The foundation is the ability to find commonalities in the ocean of divergence, to exchange contrasting ideas in a respectful way without any intention to harm others. However, the kind of opportunity that I had as a kid is such a chance that I find lacking in our everyday life nowadays. See that people now busy trying to explain God based on what they think they know without any significant effort to understand what they don't know. We're spending more and more time developing our idea of God and building walls to protect the idea from others who has different perspective than us. So, but how can we, the mortal creature with so many limitations, then understand Him as the Awasi, the one who fasts without limit, all embracing, all pervading, if we don't have any intention to embrace the unknown? So, in that harmonious environment, like what we have in so many places in our current time, religion is no longer serving us as an instrument to understand God. It became the measurement scale to identify who is right, who is wrong, who are with us, who are with them, as simply a tool for othering. And the tool can become the fertile ground to breed fear and hatred. And never underestimate fear, because fear is so powerful. If you read Umberto Eco novel, In the Name of the Rose, he said that without fear, there can be no faith. Because without fear of the devil, there is no more need of God. And nothing can give a fearful man more courage than the fear of other person. But the view is vicious, it's dangerous, and it's wrong. So here we have Pastor James Ruye and Imam Muhammad Asafa that come from a very long journey to reach to the point. They have done their own passage from hatred to love, moving beyond conflict towards reconciliations and peace. And that's what religion should be all about. A message of hope and love, and not a message of fear and hatred. So for Tifa Foundations, Pusat Paramadina, Lail, JRCS, and RP Gajah Mada University, and also Talent Umum Center, we are very honored and very thrilled to have you here to share your view, to share your voyage in embracing the knowledge. I hope we can use this opportunity today, using their stories, their narrative, to help us with our own crossing, to make religion as instrument to understand God, as a tool to spread the message of love and peace. So let's not define him as a single voice of the Al-Kabir or the restricted, the Caesar, but also his face as the Halim, the gracious, and the Rahman, the merciful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Darmawan from Tifa Foundation. And now to begin the event today, Pak Ihsan Ali Fauzi, the director of Pusat Paramadina, will come on stage to give to both of our distinguished speakers today the book published by Pusat Paramadina with the title Ketika Agama Membawa Damai dan Bukan Perang. Saya persilahkan Pak Ihsan, please give the warmest applause. Pak Ihsan will explain a little bit about the
Maaf,
book.
yang lain dapat 2 menit, masa saya 1 menit nggak boleh ya?
Boleh, silakan.
Makasih, selamat pagi teman-teman sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pastor Jin and Iman Washafa, again, my job today is to give you a book, both of you, but let me say a few words to the audience here. 2 tujuannya teman-teman sekalian. Satu, menurut saya bahwa hidup mereka ini loh, seperti yang dikatakan oleh Mas Darmawan tadi, journey mereka itu pengalaman yang luar biasa. Indonesia mungkin lebih baik dari Nigeria secara keseluruhan, tetapi individu 2 orang ini punya banyak sekali hal yang menurut saya perlu kita pelajari sebagai orang Indonesia, terutama dari segi agama dan bela damai. Macam-macam saya bisa cerita lebih banyak ya, tetapi yang sangat penting buat saya dari mereka tidak berhenti hanya pada diri mereka sendiri. Nanti teman-teman akan lebih banyak dapat cerita dari mereka. Mereka mengekspor apa yang sudah terjadi pada mereka kepada orang lain, dan dalam rangka itu, dan ini yang sangat penting buat saya, mereka memperkuat diri. Mereka belajar umurnya 40 tahun gitu ya. Ceritanya lebih menarik lagi nanti kalau Asafa atau James mau cerita. Mereka tetap belajar, karena agamawan gak cukup hanya ngerti teologi, cuma juga perlu tahu belajar mengenai resolusi konflik, manajemen konflik, biar berguna agamanya gitu ya. Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua, karena kita di kampus dan sebagainya, menurut saya kalau kita mau memperoleh perdamaian, bukan konflik, bukan perang, tulis dong mengenai perdamaian. Pelajari dong mengenai perdamaian. Wartawan liput dong peristiwa-peristiwa perdamaian. Kalau Anda tidak maunya dapat perdamaian tetapi kurang perhatian kepada perdamaian, nggak fair namanya. Karena Pram kita udah nggak fair sejak dalam pikiran. Saya mengimbau kepada teman-teman, meskipun berkali-kali kita capek menyampaikan kayak gitu, tapi nggak boleh, kata Mbak Debra, kita nggak boleh frustrasi ya. Ya udah, kita panggil aja. Nah, I really hope that attention would be paid enough kepada orang-orang seperti Asafa dan sebagainya, karena kalau kayak begitu ya kalian hanya cerita dan memperbesar yang sebaliknya, ya. Jadi ketika agama bawa damai bukan perang, ya kalian juga harus tulis, kalian harus perhatikan, dan para peneliti teliti dong aspek damainya. Itulah yang kami coba tampilkan di sini dari beberapa kasus di Indonesia. Nggak cukup ya, nah, ya nanti lebih banyak lagi dan sebagainya, tapi ini adalah satu model di mana riset mengenai perang itu harus juga diimbangi dengan riset-riset mengenai perdamaian. Dan jangan dikira perdamaian itu jebret datang begitu saja, tapi dia adalah sesuatu yang diperjuangkan. Dia bukan sesuatu yang given, tetapi dia made something that we make, gitu ya. Dengan dua poin itu, saya mohon maaf ke Feby, saya izinkan saya memberi hadiah kepada mereka. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Where are the books that I need to give to them?
Ladies and gentlemen, please give our biggest applause. To Imam Asafa and Pastor James for you.
Thank you for the salad.
Thank you so much, Pak Ihsan. Nagode.
Nagode. Sama-sama.
So, as already mentioned by Pak Ihsan and also Pak Darmawan, the most special things about these two religious leaders is they don't stop only to themselves. They don't stop just being friends to each other after the biggest riot in 1992, but they also transform. They also do a lot of things to create peace in Kaduna and afterwards to other parts of Nigeria and then to other parts of Africa. So after 1992 tragedy, both of them had lost so much. Like Pastor James Ray had lost his hand, and Imam Asafa lost his spiritual mentor and also two cousins. But afterwards, at some point, they met and they transformed themselves. And they founded the organization Interfaith Mediation Center in 1995. And since then, they have worked with thousands and thousands, more than 10,000 young people, women, religious leaders. And they have received many awards, Brim Peace Awards, among others, Prize for Conflict Prevention, and Heroes of Peace Award by Tannenbaum Foundation. So we have flipped the coin, and Imam Asafa will deliver his speech first. Imam Asafa, the stage is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalam ala sayyidil mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi tabi'in wa bilisan al-din. Wa ba'd, distinguished brothers and sisters, I greet you with the greeting of peace by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This simply means may peace and blessing of Almighty be with you. So the culture of the Muslims, anytime he wants to speak, he begins with send you blessing. And how do you reconcile a man who sends blessing to you every day? And when he wake up in the morning, the first thing after praying, even if there's nobody, he sends blessing to people on his right, blessing to people on his left. The first person when he enter his room, even without anybody, he will send blessing into the room before he go in. A person who immediately after he finished prayer, the first prayer he did was seeking for the peace of the Lord Almighty by saying, Allahumma anta salam, wa minka salam, wa ilayka yadu salam, fa ayyina rabbana bisalam, tabarak rabbana wa ta'alita to the end of that. How do you reconcile such a person with the act of terrorism? This is a big question. With that of exclusiveness, exclusivism. It is a big question, and that's why we are trying to look at, within some few meters, why do we need an inclusive world as people of faith? Why do we need an interfaith engagement, interfaith mediations? So we are going, my paper is looking at the prospect and challenges of interfaith engagement. I'm talking from my practical experience and some of the experiences I've seen around the world. So distinguished brothers, the first thing is to thank Almighty God for giving me the privilege to be here among you, especially in Indonesia. This is the 60th nation I've traveled to in the world, the 60th nation. And I'm so happy. It has taken a long time. I've been dreaming I want to be in Indonesia, but it has just come when it comes. And I'm so happy that it comes at the right time to meet the future of this nation. You are the future of these nations, a role model that the Muslim world is looking onto. The Arabs has failed Islamic world in terms of being a role model. The African are failing, Muslims are failing the Islamic world in terms of creating a role model. But and we're looking onto Asia. And Asia, many people are looking into the most populous Muslim nation in the world. What can you give us? From your own experience of your cultural diversity, I learned there are over 525 languages and dialects in Indonesia. Over 525. So this diversity you have, how do you influence the Muslim world? What gift are you bringing for us? This informs why I have strong hope in this country. Hope that you have to lead the Muslims, to create a path where there is none, so that the Muslim world will have something to fall back to. So the future lies with you. And I say that, and I repeat it as I say in Georgia, if United Arab Emirates give us a global market called Dubai, everybody from all parts of the world, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, everybody want to go there, to go into the global market. If Qatari, with just 600,000 population, a little above 600,000, less than a million, if they are able to create a dialogue center and a voice for the Muslim world in the name of Al Jazeera, just 600,000 people, creating that, what is the most populous nation going to create? What are you giving to the world? Because you are the future of the Muslim world. We are looking on to you. So that's why I attach importance to coming to Indonesia and being part of this. Fortunately, Jackie and my brother, Professor Ihsan, and Professor Zainul Abidin. Where is Zainul Abidin? Please, can you come forward here, please? Brother Zainul Abidin is of CRS. The prof, he just went out. If you come back, I want to see him here, who have worked hard to make sure they get all of us together to be able to have this opportunity to engage. Distinguished brothers, I want to thank the Tannenbaum Center for Interreligious Understanding in New York City, who think one of the best things we can do is bringing religious leaders together. Rabbi Mark Tannenbaum, who has passed away, he did everything as a Jew to bring religious leaders together to start talking, bringing the best in our religiosity to the world. He passed away and the center was in his memory, and he has gone around the world selecting people across faiths to work, not only within Abrahamic faith, but across Abrahamic faith to other faith now, to see how can we have heroes of peace and bringing them together so that we can clone them in the heart of all mankind together. As I want to thank also the organizers of these programs and these institutions who hosted this important event. May Almighty Allah reward you accordingly. Distinguished brothers, coming to reality, when we look at religion today, the state of affairs, is it part of the solution or part of the problem? Many will resolve that religion is part of the problem confronting the human family. Part of the problem because We've seen religion have been used. We have pilots, navigators, shepherds of religion, who have used religion to promote what? Violence. We have seen them who have used it to promote extremism. We have seen them who have used it to promote hate, maim and kill in the name of God of love. Hate in the name of God of love, kill in the name of God of compassion, and taking vengeance in the name of God of forgiveness. How do you reconcile this? Distinguished brothers and sisters, we have seen that within, not only across faiths, conflict, even within our religious tradition, within Buddhism, we have seen how Buddhists have murdered Buddhists in the name of Brahma or Krishna. Gandhi is an example. Mahatma Gandhi is a victim of where Buddha killed a Buddha and where a Hindu killed a Hindu. In Buddhism, we've seen the examples of what 969 Buddhist monk movement is doing, and when Dalai Lama on the other side, how they oppose each other. Dalai Lama is saying, this is not our culture, you can't kill in the name of Buddha. And they say, no, we have a different way. We've seen what is happening between Tamil Tigers and the other part of Sri Lanka. We've seen how religion have been used. We saw it in Christianity, either within the Catholic and Protestant, or within the Protestant and the Pentecostal. We've seen the division. We have Northern Ireland as an example of where Christian versus Christian, they couldn't go together for more than 20 years. We've seen it in Confucianism/Taoism. What has happened with the bombing in Tokyo, where Taoism is the state religion, and we know in the name of Taoism, or hiding under Taoism, within Taoism and Confucianism, how the sarin gas was thrown into the train station. We see it clearly. In Judaism, we saw it, how President Ishak Rabin was murdered by fellow Jew. And of course, we saw it in Islam, how Anwar al-Sadat, as the president of Egypt, had to lose his life in the hand of fellow Muslims, not in the hand of somebody outside. We saw how many mosques were being blown up by Muslims to Muslims. We've seen how many Muslims become victims, how Muslim daughters were stolen away, not by somebody outside, but by Muslims to Muslims. We saw how Muslims were butchering themselves, or how they butchered the others. The Salafi-Sunni Shia conflict, we saw what is happening. These are done in the name of God. So as a result of this event happening across faith and traditions around the world, we will not forget that in Christianity, Martin Luther King Jr., he was murdered by James. Somebody in his name, James Ray, who murdered Martin Luther King. It is very clear that across faith and traditions, we have caused more pains and harms to our fellow brothers and sisters than even outside the box. The victim of ISIS today, Al-Qaeda, Talibanizations, the highest victim, over 80% of the victims of Boko Haram are Muslims themselves. Distinguished brothers and sisters, can this be done in the name of God? Towards the end of the century, the 19th century, some people brought two solutions. Two independent solutions. One is the secularization process. Can we take religion out of the public life? They choose to take religion out, and they successfully, in Western Europe, taking religion out of political scene. They say we need to take religion out to create an alternative to religion, alternative to the quest for religion. And in this alternative, you know what they did? According to Rabbi Jonathan Sacks is the president of the Jewish community in United Kingdom. He wrote a book called Not in the Name of God. Not in God's name. That is the book, Killing, Maiming, Not in God's name. In that book, he was responding to say that at the end of the 20th, the secularists come with a conclusion. And what is the alternative? And they read, I quote, "We no longer need the Bible to explain the universe. Instead, we have science. Science can explain better than the Bible. We don't need the Bible, so throw your Bible away. We do not need the sacred rituals to control human destiny. Sacred rituals, Salat, going to Hajj, Christmas festivity, and all other things that go to rituals. Instead, we have technology. When we are ill, we do not need prayers, they said, but we have doctors and surgeries. So you don't need to pray to Allah for hidayah because you are sick. All you need to do is just you need to see your doctor and you get you out. If you are depressed, there is alternative to religious consolations. Askar and zikr, no, you have alternative to it. What is that alternative? Antidepressant drugs. You just take the drugs and cool, you went to sleep. When you wake up, perhaps you must have forgotten that. When we feel overwhelmed with guilt, when we commit zunub, when we commit sin, and we are overwhelmed, when we harm, we cause pain to our brothers, and you start feeling guilty, we can choose psychotherapy in place of confession. You don't need to do astaghfirullah. Just go for psychotherapy. So they said. We can choose for seeker of transcendence who are trying to understand the deeper knowledge of the unseen. He said there are rock music, rock concerts, and there are sports and matches to which you can use conclusively. Distinguished brothers and sisters, they say this is the alternative. But how this work? Have we taken away the influence of religion in Europe? Is religion away? Are people no more looking to religion for consolence? The answer is absolute no. That method has failed the world. It failed the science because there are more Buddhists in Europe, yoga experts, than you have today in Indonesia or in Asia as a whole. So why? More youth are coming to religious across different parts of the world than getting away from religion. And we have the doctors. Even more doctors are more religious. They even have other concerns. Therefore, that is the first alternative. The second alternative happened today almost 100 years plus. In 1893, at the end of the century, the 19th century, they have in Chicago, United States of America, religious leaders come together and they establish World Parliament of Religion. So can religious leaders come together for force or for good? And they did indeed succeeded. And from that moment, many religious leaders across the modern age, within 20th century, people start coming together and say we can talk together and add value to the dignity of the human person. Distinguished brothers, my time is almost off. She's showing me a sign. But unfortunately, I'm just giving the preamble because talking of the prospects and challenges, but the time is up. Maybe I can have extra 5 minutes here, lady. Yeah. So in doing that, distinguished brothers and sisters, we have seen that they say religion is the solution. And they march forward creating various initiatives to provide a template for learning for others, religion, and they say we emphasize the golden rule, the golden rules. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. La yuminu ahadukum hatta yuhibbu lahu ma yuhibbu nafsi. This template become a very important template. However, because of time, what are the outcome of that prospect? One of the major outcomes we see religious leaders in the 20th century taking a very strong role, one in decolonization processes, in fighting for freedom and liberation of their own community. The first important event is theology of liberation. They look into their faith and bring theology of liberation to liberate their people from bondage. The first successful story is Mahatma Gandhi of India. He brings satyagraha, the concept of non-violence to address the consequences of hate and divisions. Number two, apart from him, we have seen it clearly that in Africa, Ahmad Bamba, the teacher of Usman Fodio, he came out with decolonization program from Senegambia up to what become Nigeria of today. Distinguished brothers and sisters, we see the outcome of that in Southern America. We will not forget Father Romero in Southern America, who have done a lot in changing the tides using theology of liberation. My brothers and sisters, neither can we forget in America Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, Sheikh Malik Abdul Shabazz, Malcolm X, aka. The two of them are Africans who most of them were murdered because of taking initiative within their own faith and conviction to say, we can change the world. and their contribution up to this day is highly recognized. Of course, when you look at the musician, you cannot forget about people like Bob Marley, who created a path for the Jamaican. Bob Marley looked at his own faith and tradition to create a template. These are religious leaders. Or the Dalai Lama, while the other Buddhists are blowing up themselves, burning and maiming others, Dalai Lama received the Nobel Peace Prize. He said, no, that is not the learning of Buddha. The art of compassion is to go beyond hate, to create a template for others, creating safe space for others. So we have this religious leader, but we don't talk about it. There are so many of them. Here in this part of the world, we have people like Sheikh Ahmad Jafar Baksha Khan. Baksha Khan in Indo-Pakistan, who is contemporary of Mahatma Gandhi. They work together side by side. He as the pastor, Gandhi like the pastor, and Baksha Khan like the imam. So they have the imam and the pastor. It's not just Gandhi. The two of them work the same time, and they work for centuries. Almost their century, they change history with their own life. All of them are gone, but we don't talk about this. These are successful stories from the second episode of saying religious leaders are engaged. However, the question to us, they're under theology of compassion. Theology of compassion, we've seen so many important progress, either with the missionaries, education, health sector, social welfare, etc., where greater contribution has happened across the human family. But the spiritual brothers, we need to ask, what is the Islamic perspective? Has Islam supported this or something else? For me, one important thing for us to know in terms of interfaith engagement is that every Friday, every Jummah, the Imam will either start with an inclusive message, which call for compassion and inclusiveness, and end up with social justice message, calling for social justice within the given frame. They start with always, Inna Allah ya ayyuhan nas, ittaqu rabbakum, alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida, wa khalaqa minha zawjaha, wa bassa minhuma rijalan kaseeran wa nisaa, wa taqullaha alladhi tasaaluna bihi wal arham, inna Allaha kana alaykum raqiba. This is the Quran chapter 4 verse 1. Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, not O you, ya ayyuhallazina amanu, not ya ahlul kitab. When say ya ayyuhallazina amanu is talking to the Muslim. When say ya ahlul kitab is talking to the Abrahamic family, who we share common bond, different religion. When say ya ayyuhan nas, all mankind together. Then when you talk of social justice, it says at the end of the khutbah, when you know that the salah is ready to go, he said, Inna Allaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Inna Allaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Wa ita'iz dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar wal baghi ya'izukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. He said, qumu lis-salah. Everybody stand. He called for social justice, not justice for Muslims, universal social justice. So Islam is an inclusive religion. If you look at Quran chapter 4 verse 1, Quran chapter 49 verse 13, and when you look at a case of interfaith dialogue, Quran chapter 364 has made that very clear, and Quran chapter 5 verse 32, when God says, if He so will, He will make us one nation, one tribe, one religion, one culture. So, but He may test us, He give us the ability. This is Islam talking. A pluralism that recognize the individuality and the uniqueness of the individual, and ability to flourish. A truism that respect the truth of the others. I have my truth, you have your truth, they have their truth, we have our truth, and together we respect each other's truth. And we do everything non-violent to convince you to see the beauty of my truth. Perhaps you may buy into my own idea. Perhaps you may buy into it. As God sent Moses to Pharaoh, He said, go and talk to him. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرَ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Perhaps, قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا, talk to him non-violently. Theology of communication. Talk to Moses, who have embodied my people. Perhaps Moses can reflect, and Pharaoh may reflect. He didn't say go and fight Pharaoh. He said go and talk to Pharaoh. قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا, theology of communication non-violently. So distinguished brothers and sisters in Islam, protection of sacred site. You cannot destroy places of worship. It is haram. Quran chapter 10 verse 99, Quran chapter 6 verse 108 has made that very clear. You can't disgrace, desecrate places of worship, insult their God. When you insult their God, they will insult your God.
Thank you so much, Imam Asafa.
Oh,
Sorry, your time is
over. So now,
over.
under the way forward, can I mention one or two?
Okay.
What interfaith is not amalgamation of faith. Interfaith is not about what? It's not about compromise. No, it is not. It's about being the best of who you are and create a space for the others. And one of the greater challenges we have is within, when you misinterpret, misrepresent scriptural. These are Semitic texts. You cannot just pick them out of context. You have serious religious leaders who quote the Quran out of context, they quote the Bible out of context, they quote the Bhagavad Gita out of context to justify their own reason. These, I said, religions are divided into three. You have the ideal religious leaders, you have the incapable religious leaders, and you have the mischievous religious leaders. I call them the good, the bad, and the ugly religious leaders. So be careful when you see the bad and the ugly religious leaders so that you don't fall prey into their own caprices. Interfaith engagement began with Muhammad in Mecca. He sent the first community to where? To Abyssinia in Ethiopia. Tell your religious leaders, how about Muhammad engaging sending Muslims to Ethiopia to go and do what? To have political asylum under a Christian king. So having a Christian within your system, working with a Christian community, if Muhammad did that, why are you saying interfaith is haram? Number two, tell them clearly, ask them the question. Muhammad in his mosque in Medina, he invited the Najran Christians from Najran, they come inside the mosque and they engage in dialogue in the most holiest of holy mosques with Muhammad. And they have a stalemate, they never agree. And Muhammad said, what do we need to do? Since you disagree, I disagree, you have the truth, I have my truth. Say, let's pray to God. ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم وقلنا ندعو لعنة الله على الكاذبين. So bring your family and my family, we bring your wife and my wife, your children and my children, and we invoke the curse of God on the liar. It's okay, we'll go and think about it and we'll come back to discuss with you. Muhammad didn't follow them. They go. They never fight. This is interfaith engagement, the first interfaith engagement in the 7th century inside the house of Muhammad. So today, if you don't engage, how do you conquer the fear of unknown? How do you conquer it? You must engage. You must be willing to learn. But to succeed, you must be yourself. You must understand your faith and tradition and be able to do it better. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your inspiring speech and very strong message. And coach, you used to call coach, right?
Yeah. He's a coach. I like that. I like that.
Back then.
Coach.
Coach. I still not yet. No, so yeah, it's okay. I still want to chat with you a little bit. So, coach, love is always something that's been promoting by Christianity, but it's not always easy to do, right? So, in the film, I saw your interview that saying it's hard for you at the beginning to forgive Imam Asafa and the Muslims, but you overcome the hatred, you overcome yourself, and in Islam, I know that the biggest war is the war against ourselves. So I think both of you has a very big journey to come to this point. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our coach and our father, James Wuye, to deliver his speech.
Thank you very much. You know, he's tall, so he speaks tall. And I'm short, I speak short.
You have 20 minutes.
Not 25 now. Okay, I try. You know, that is injustice. He stole my 5 minutes. I should say I should restrict myself to 5 to 20 minutes. I will obey you, princess.
Nagode.
Sama-sama. Having said that, permit me to say peace be with you all. And you see, there are no Catholics here. Is there any single Catholic in this house? Peace be with you.
and
also
with you.
Actually, the greeting that Muslims greet with, they took it from Jesus. Yeah, Jesus said, when you go to a house, say to that house, peace be with you. And he said, if there are people of peace, they will return your greeting to you. So now can I say, peace be with you?
Yes,
And also with me. Because we have not been doing it in English, you think it's strange. But when I say to you, Salaam alaikum,
Walaikum salam.
you see? But in Indonesian language, how can I say it?
Assalamualaikum is a part of Indonesian language.
Oh, wonderful. So you see, this universal greeting of peace is what all of us must inculcate. Can I say, may I stand on the existing protocol, not to mention you name by name, not to say thank you to those my colleague has thanked. He has used the time to say thank you. I don't need to say thank you again. So please, I superimpose whatever I have to say in the preambles on what my colleague has said. Having said that, I know you will know I am happy. You will know I say thank you. And I want to begin by saying, I was wondering what to share in this country. I know you are enjoying peace. When people enjoy peace, they will have riches. Wealth will come to them. But you know, when there is so much wealth on the ground, wealth breeds greed. When you are so wealthy, if you are not careful, you become greedy. But when everybody is manipulative, the greedy ones take everything, it brings anger. When anger becomes amplified, it brings war. And that is what I do not hope for this country. But when there is war, war brings poverty. Back in Nigeria, you go to the areas where Boko Haram are operating, the people are starving. Those who used to be the meat basket of Nigeria. Most of the cows in Nigeria comes from the northeast. But because of the war of Boko Haram, there is poverty. But what does poverty breed? Poverty breeds humanity. When the tsunami occurred all over the world, people forgot their religion. They forgot their race. They forgot their ethnicity. Everybody was praying and assisting when the tsunami took over the world. However, now, there are various hurricanes. I don't know why they name hurricanes with women name, I don't know. But the Harvey one was not a woman. There was Katrina, there was all those wonderful, terrible hurricanes. They all have women name. But I don't know why they do that. But I want to say, when there is war, people become humbled and humiliated. Brothers and sisters here, imagine what is happening to Syria. A cradle of religious faith. Christianity has her roots, some of her roots in Syria. Islam has her roots in Syria. Several other religions connect to Syria, but Syrians are beggars on the street because war brings that. But when people are humbled by war, it brings about peace again. And it comes to the verse in the Bible in Isaiah chapter 1, verse 18 that says, "Come, ta'alu, let's reason together. Though your sins be as red as crimson, I shall make them as white as snow." God made a clarion call when the people were going away. So for you today in this country, keep dialoguing, keep discussing your differences. That indeed you will discuss, and you will sweat, and you will sweat, and the sweat shall fill 500 liters of sweat. Please keep sweating. don't allow yourself to shed a pint of blood. Sweat it out, talk it out, and get results. Since 2010, the measure of violence conflict has tripled, indicating an urgent need to shift from crisis management approach to addressing risk factor before violence starts or escalates. Part of what we are here is not that you are in war. We have come to share our stories. How I lost my hand, how people died, how we are competing in our country over who has killed the most. After every violent conflict, young Christians will go one side and say, how many mosques did you burn? Have you raised down? How many people have you killed? The Muslim will go and count. How many churches did you burn? How many people have you killed? We are competing over killing people as people competing over gold medals. It's worrisome. And in that regard, we came here to share our stories. Now, whatever it takes, accommodate. Don't tolerate. Accept your differences. In tolerance, there is the power play of the powerful and the less powerful. But remember, where you think you have strength, you have your brother and sister elsewhere that is weak. My Muslim friend told me that God curses anyone that starts fitna, problem. Because you may start it in the comfort of your house, and your brother and sister elsewhere will suffer. We say in the past, when Israel sneezes, like, Iman, did you just sneeze? We catch the cold in Africa. Nigeria in 2007, by the Bertelsmann Foundation, you may Google that out, German say that Nigeria is 92% most religious sensitive nation in the world. Though you have the largest number of Muslims all over the world, you are not as sensitive, as trigger happy as Nigerians when it comes to respond to issues that pertain to religious values and religious pains. When the Danish cartoon occurred in Faraway, we in Nigeria, we fought over it, and over 200 people died because an atheist, pardon me to use a kufr, who did not believe in God, went and did a caricature of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And Christians suffered in Nigeria because they thought the man was a Christian. Now, whatever action you will take wherever you are in the corner of your house, remember the Ummah, somewhere may suffer. Remember the brethren, somewhere may suffer. And that is why we say, before you act locally, think of the impact globally. I have been manipulated. I have been brainwashed. I have been controlled by religious leaders who taught me the other way. They say the way to settle your score is to fight. And let me say to all of you sitting here, I know there are theologians here. There are people that are very versed in our faith, but embedded in our holy scriptures, there are verses that are open to manipulative interpretation. And you can be mind-controlled to kill your brother or sister before even realizing it. And these are the categories of people that Imam has said. We have the mischievous religious leader. We have the good, the bad, and the ugly. The ugly ones are those who know the scripture and they can interpret it to suit a situation based on interest of resources. Let me say, Imam will usually say, if you want them to Hellenize the haram, in order to market an idea, they will make a halal haram. And if you want them to haramize the halal, you know, they will make that which is haram halal. He who dictates, who plays the piper, dictates the tune. You don't have them in your country, but we have them in Nigeria. Religious leaders that you can give, politicians will visit in the evening and give them something to say something in their favor. And most of us young people here, we have fallen prey to some of us. That's why I lost this hand. I fell prey to some of those kind of religious leaders. He fell prey to some of those religious leaders. They made us hate with a passion. And they used the scriptures. They use the Quran, they use the Bible. And they get verses that make us begin to hit the other. And we cannot even talk to them. We cannot even shake hands with them. We'll tell them they are not clean enough for our dialogue. And Imam told me, like he said, the Prophet of Islam introduced dialogue. And he said, when you go to talk to people, talk to them with wise, kind words. Words that will make them feel happy when you dialogue with them. Maybe, if you talk well, you will win them. And Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I will draw men unto me. But when you say to me, probably I used to tell Iman, maybe I will have been a Muslim long time, but now it's too late. You know why? They have been told to call us inferior. And they don't talk to us with respect. And for that reason, we block our minds. So you will not do that here, because you are good people. And you don't tell the others they are down. When you use harmful languages, it takes the person far away instead of drawing him near. You need to have what I call infectious, contagious love. That when you sneeze, the person catch the cold of love and come back. No wonder Pope John Paul,
My Pope, please.
Imam used to call him his Pope. You know why Imam called him his Pope? When we went to the Vatican and we entered the big hall where most of the popes were buried, almost all the popes have their statues on their grave. But Pope John Paul was buried without a statue, and it was just gravels. And he said that was Islamic. So, but this is what he did when he was alive. We talked about the prospect. I started with the challenges. And we said to one another in our country, don't preach about Christianity and mention Islam at all. You don't need to degrade Islam to win people to Christ. Wrong method. Just preach about the love and leave it to God to change. Similarly, Muslims within our center, we encourage, you don't need to quote the Bible to tell somebody to come. We even give example of the Prophet of Islam when he had a neighbor that was a Jew. Every day he sweep his garbage and throw it over in his house. And one day the Prophet will go and sweep it and do not say anything. Then one day the Prophet woke up and the garbage was not there. Oh, what happened? Then he went round. Oh, neighbor. He found out the neighbor was sick. That was why the trouble has ended. But what did he do? He showed him love and kindness. He would have abused him. He would have told him bad words. But I was told that they say that that Jew became a Muslim. How can you inch towards a neighbor without hurting the neighbor? In all you do, do no harm. If you will eat food, the concept of neighbor, am I supposed to talk from Christian perspective? I find myself talking from Islamic. Probably I'm influenced.
My prayer is coming through.
Imam, you know I'm too old to be converted. But let me say what I want to say. The concept of neighbor says, if your wife will cook, don't pray, I'm not going to answer that prayer. It's already said, Allah. So he said, when your wife cooks and the aroma gets to the nose of your neighbor is entitled to that meal. And he said, a good Muslim is that whose neighbor is free from the lips.
Evil.
Evil is free from the lips, from the
Evil of his
hands,
hand.
and the third one?
Evil of his hand.
Eyes. So, how can you practice that? I think we should start competing between Christians and Muslims over who will show the kindness and the biggest love. And that should be the way to do it. If today, as a wayfarer, I was with the second Sultan in Nigeria, in Maiduguri, in the Boko Haram city. And I said to him, it was during Ramadan lecture. You know, there is the zakat of the wayfarer, right? You give a stranger zakat when he's passing.
Yeah. So
So I say, oh El Kanami, Sultan, can you give me the zakat of the wayfarer? He said, no, you did not qualify. I said, but I'm a stranger in your land. He said, but you are better than others who are in the land, so I won't give you zakat. But then, this is a good teaching. Jesus said, when you do this to the least of my brothers and sisters, you have done it to me. When I was naked, you gave me a cloth. When I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was in prison, you visited me. That is practical Christianity. So Pope said,
it's Hadith Qudsi, my friend.
Hadith Qudsi? Oh, you see, it's just like he has also quoted in the Bible, Acts chapter 7, verse 21, 17, 21 now. It says, we have created you from all nations, from a pair of blood, that you may know the bounds of your habitation. He quoted the Bible here. He said it's Quran.
No, it's not. It's Quran chapter 4, verse 1, not Act of Apostles chapter 17, verse 26. You see. So the Bible copy from the Quran.
Well, we can do this debate later when we meet other theologians. But for now, the message is, what stops us from going forward is we have pride, injustice, non-repentance, dogmatism to religion. We hold on to the old-time religion. We don't say you should compromise it, but there are contexts. Unforgiveness, some of us are holding memories, collective memories of the past, and we don't want to heal. No time to tell you about that. Unhealthy rivalry. We are competing over resources. We are competing over space. Colonialism. We have history of how colonial masters came and took power and gave it to some people. And now they are ahead of us. We are still fighting. Poor communication. We don't know how to talk. We talk vulgar. We talk pains. We ventilate anger in our speech. Bad. We have resentment. Oh, this man or this woman dressed this way. She's not my brother. We have that. Cultural and religious complex. The people of the north are better than the people of the south. I don't know whether you have it here. Even within the same religion. Even among sects, among Pentecostal, among Catholic, among Protestant, that's why we are protesting. Resource greed and fear. Deep-rooted corruption. This country is not corrupt, but in my country we are very corrupt. Our leaders. Impunity, but we are working on, and you know what the Nigerian government is doing? It has called religious leaders to come and help them stop the corruption. So every Friday, religious leaders will say a khutbah against corruption. Every Sunday, we preach against corruption. And the strongest power you have, and it's 1 minute to go. Blessed are those who keep short, for they shall. Can I now say 1 minute? Can I also use 3 minutes? He used 5, I will use 3. Okay, you know, justice even is there in the allocation of time. So finally, the Pope said, peace with God, the Creator, peace with all creation. He gave it every year. He started giving his pontifical messages in the year 1990. In 1991, his message is, if you want peace, respect the conscience of every person. In 1992, he said, believers united in building bridges. In 1994, he said, if you want peace, reach out for the poor. In 1995, he said, women teachers of peace. If women will intensify teaching of peace, there will be peace in the world. 1996, he said, let us give children a future of peace. So most of us that are old here, we should know we are responsible for leaving our children in peace. He says, offer forgiveness and receive peace. From justice of each comes peace for all. Respect for human rights, the secret of true peace. Peace on earth, peace to those whom God loves. 2000, dialogue between culture for the civilization of love and peace. 2000, let me go to the last one before he went to heaven. In 2012, before he died, he said, educating young people in justice and peace. That was his last message for the world. Can we begin as leaders, educate our young people for peace? And for a Christian, if you want to go to Al-Jannah, if you want to go to heaven, to paradise, in Hebrew chapter 12, verse 14 and 15, it says, strive to live in peace with everybody and pursue that consecration and holiness, without which no one will ever see the Lord. Hebrew chapter 12, verse 14 and 15. And the verse ended in 15 with a warning. Don't transfer your pains to the next generation. If you transfer it, it will have a root. He said, exercise foresight, you elders, and be on the watch to look after one another. See to it that no one falls back from and fail to secure God's grace, al-khayri, unmerited favor and spiritual blessings, in order that no root of resentment, rancor, bitterness, hate, shootouts, fought, and cause trouble and bitter torment, and many become contaminated and defiled. Imams, pastors, don't transfer your anger, your pains to this new generation, so that it does not grow root and stand. When it stands, it pollutes everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Father James. So as we see that even though Nigeria is quite far country, but there are many similarities in terms of religion. Religion can be a source of conflict and also can be a source of the solution. And before I give the chance to Flor, I will be selfish and will use my privilege to ask them question first. So both of you have worked together for more than 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. So, and 23 years, is it hard? Figuratively speaking, do you sometimes still want to kill each other? I mean, do you still sometimes get angry to each other? How do you solve that problem when you have conflict between two of you during these 23 years?
You have a mic on you.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen to
Sometimes.
Imam should start, you see? Or should I start?
Sure. Please, Coach, start first.
This lady is reminding me of my other part.
All times, right?
All times. But now I am still a coach, but coach for peace.
Coach for peace. Correct.
Yes, we have had situations where we have differences, and we still have differences. And those differences sometimes are very painful, that we feel strong about something, but we have evolved a system of solving that problem by talking sincerely to one another. When we were younger, probably we would have used our fist, but now we don't even raise our voices. We believe in calmness and talking quietly. You still send your message across and have the desired impact. When you shout, in anger, you lose coordination. You lose focus. And so we have learned over the years to take a deep breath before we respond. The issue of wanting to kill one another is no more there. But we still have some challenges that comes with growth and comes with expansion and comes with new people coming into the system, because we have over 38 staff in the center. It started with 2, but it has grown to have more imams, more pastors. And if Imam and I now go to heaven, the work will still continue.
Hopefully, amen to that. So, Imam Asafa, forgiveness comes from within and it cannot be forced. So, in your experience, how do you start to touch people to start to forgive?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think the most important thing is let them know the consequences of unforgiveness. The consequences of what? Of unforgiveness.
You should use the mic.
I don't have a voice like...
They say you should use the mic, please.
You know, the guy is short, but his voice is tall. So what is important is that we make people know the consequences of unforgiveness. First, unforgiveness. During my tour among Native Americans, the Native Indians, they call it Native Americans, the Native Indians in America, and one of them was talking and he says, forgiveness is like poison. Unforgiveness is like taking poison and you expect the other person to die. When you live in unforgiveness, you live in poison. You are poisoning yourselves. And the guy who hurt you has forgotten he hurt you. He's in his own world doing something else. But you feel pains in your heart. Every day you remember your heart ache. Every day you remember it spoiled your day. You dress very nice, diligently, you are happy. Then you see the guy who hurt you yesterday. He come and cross on the way. What happened to you? Anger. Because you find it, when you have anger, you are releasing certain poisonous gas inside you. And at the point of anger, it's a little element of madness. If you are in the state of anger, the Prophet of Islam says it's a state of psychiatric dysfunctioning of your brain. So you can do anything because you may lose your balance. So therefore, the consequences of anger on our health, on our mind, on our well-being, on our social interaction, on assessing our opportunity is so much, so huge that you cannot just. We're not saying you should accept or be part of that or just leave yourself to be hurt. No. Protect yourself from being hurt, but let go. Ability to let go is the most important thing. And secondly, it's a core value in Islam. One of the greater value of Islam is ability to forgive those who hurt you. Muhammad demonstrated in so many instances. He said, وَمَا أَلْقَاهَا إِلَّا صَبَرُوا إِدْفَعَ بِالَّتِي السَّيِّئَةِ وَالْحَسَنَةِ. Can you change the negative with positive? If they did something negative for you, you do positive. If you do that, the worst of enemy may become the best of friend. He was my enemy yesterday. They killed my spiritual teacher. They killed my cousins. And they destroy our mosques and places of worship. Remember, this had happened. But ability to let go, to create a template, as Muhammad forgave the Meccans who have persecuted and humiliated him and his followers. But when he get to Mecca, he conquer Mecca, Mecca fall, وَقُلْ جَعَلَ حَقُّ وَذَاكَ الْبَاطِلَ إِنَّ بَاطِلَ كَانَ زَؤُوكَ happen. Then all of them were saying, how can we do? What will happen to us? What will happen? Muhammad is going to shatter us. And then they gathered in Kaaba and he asked them, what do you think I can do? They say, as Joseph, remember the Arabs, they remember the history of Joseph. Remember Joseph and his 12 brothers, how they persecuted. As Joseph forgave his brothers, we shall find similar compassion in your heart. And Muhammad said, anybody who go to Abu Sufyan's house is safe. Abu Sufyan, the worst enemy. If you go to his house, you are safe. Then I know you are not an enemy, you are a friend. And from that moment, Muhammad forgave them.
He forgave those in Taif who threw stone at him. He broke his teeth and blood was flowing over his body. He let go. So, and the Quran says, "Wama alqaha illa sabaru." No one will have courage to do this except those who are perseverance. Illa zul asfil azim, those with greater reward. So what I'm saying is that I was able to forgive because I want to live according to the virtues and value of Muhammad. And Muhammad was the guy who have the greatest, who was described in Nakala ala Hulukal Azim, the best characteristics, the best quality of attitude and behavior. In terms of compassion, he has it. So because it's a faith, I did it. Secondly, because of my health, I enjoy doing it to continue to do it. And my brother will say, you just ask for a ticket. He always wrote every day, 70 times. We want to forgive some people, 70 people today. He has open ticket for 70 people who will hurt him today. So anytime you hurt him, he just say -1, calculating to get to 70. And at the end of the day, maybe 20, 10, 15 people just hurt you. So you are still at peace with yourselves. And pastor says it's not just 70, it's 70 times 7. Jesus said, forgive 70 times 7 in a day, 450 times in a day. So that shows to us that forgiveness is a virtue that we need to possess as children of Abraham.
Thank you. So it's also a process of forgiving. It's not one-time process. It's you need to do it over and over again sometimes.
Yeah, it values on who you are and what you stand to represent. Some people can let go immediately.
Yeah.
Some people will take a week. Some people will take a month. Some people will take years. Like the pastor, maybe he will tell you what it takes him because he has the string on his hand.
So, yeah, Father James.
But
what do you think?
within 3 weeks, I've let go everything. I was a new person.
But you are more humorous person, you know?
No, it's not as humorous as me.
Well, it's my therapy to stay healthy and happy is humor injecting into everything. Even when you don't feel good, try some humor.
Very good.
Yeah. So what Imam was trying to elicit from me and make me say is that I took 3 years, as you have seen from the DVD, to let go my pains. Can everyone hear me? If you cannot hear me, wave your hands. Of course, you cannot wave if you didn't hear me.
But the camera.
Right. If you can hear me, I keep going because I'm trying to modulate my voice higher. Now, having said that, it took me 3 years to let go my pains, and each time we were, am I shouting now?
Yes.
So each time we share rooms together, I had some tensions and I have some desire to hurt him, you know, because I feel he was somehow, through his voice and activities, responsible for my hand. And I was also carrying, though an emotional one, also carry a physical deformity. So it took me time to process. And it came from my spirituality too. I know for Christians, they know Jesus forgave those who were persecuting him and killing him on the cross. Right there, I say, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. But I couldn't take that quickly. It took some months. It took some 3 years. I was actually working with him, not really in the business of doing peace for peace sake, but there was a divine push to continue. I would have moved out of the discussion and really harm him. There is a place we went and we shared room when we were younger then, and I was tempted to take the pillow because he was sleeping. By the way, I'm also trained to do some things. So to sit over his nose and suffocate him. But there was this restraining force and also reasoning, say, oh, you slept with this guy, how comes that he's dead in the morning? So some of those things. So forgiveness cannot occur immediately. And you know what this guy does to me? He always helped me. When we are to carry heavy things, he helped me carry. But deep in my mind in the early days, I was saying he was doing penance for my hand. you should carry even more heavy one. But he was doing it with sincerity. So I thank him for all those years that he was patient, but he did not know I was also a hypocrite. Yeah. So for me to come out real. Thank you.
Sometimes for the media, if it leads, then it leads. But the journalist your journalist friend who put you together, right? And at the first time before you make friends to each other. So how is the media right now in Kaduna, in Nigeria? Do they support your work? How do they do?
I think the media have done very well in our own contest. Some of them have supported us, and in supporting us, they even give us free airtime on televisions, and we run free airtime interfaith dialogue for almost 2 good years. Is it 2 years? Almost 2 to 3 years. We run on the television free. But when they hear that we received some grants for some donor agencies to run the program, and they start asking for money. So the government went, another political government come in. Those government doesn't like the issue of our peace we are doing. So they insisted that we should be paying for the airtime we're using on the state television. So because of that, and we say, no, if you cannot pay for it, we can't allow it. My director say no. The other MD was supporting peace, he gave us free time. But when her time has gone and the new MD come with the new government, political government, who doesn't like this thing because they enjoy division than the inclusion. So we have those challenges. And some medias have done a lot of work to support our work at the local level. And we have the bad medias also, who are always promoting hate. They have hate speeches. They promote hate speeches, and they carry a lot about hate. So we have them. You have the good and the bad, and then the ugly media houses too.
Same here. Do you sometimes experience any intimidation from any other organization?
Yes, we do experience that too. But I also want to add my voice to the medias who also have helped. The BBC, Hausa, Voice of America, Radio Deutsche Welle, Radio France International, Al Jazeera, BBC World Television, ARD of Germany. A couple of them have actually promoted the work we do by telling the world. But those that are really frequent are Deutsche Welle and Voice of America. From time to time, when they sense tension in Nigeria and tension in Africa, they will ask us to say, what is our take? And we'll send a message that over how many million? Over 100 million listens to the Hausa service, both in Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, up to Ghana, Senegal. Hausa is spoken, it's like Kiswahili in Eastern Africa. So these have helped a lot. But about threat, yes, there are threats. Initially, the economical bodies felt, who are these boys? Who are these boys? The very senior religious leaders became concerned that these boys are getting somewhere and they could control the religious terrain. You know, Iman is listed as one of the 500 most influential Muslims in the world. But the Christian refused to recognize me. So, and that went round, and some religious leaders are saying, who is this boy? Then we were younger, you know, and then we're still young anyway. And so those threats are there. Number two, there are also threats by even the insurgents, because what we are doing is undermining them. They want to promote hate, and we are saying, no, that is not it. But though they didn't come to attack us, they monitor us, and they say they know what we are doing. That is that. And there was a fatwa on Imam sometimes by some Muslim young people, and said what he is doing with Christians is haram, and they should kill him. And so they printed some papers and threw them in some masjids. And the senior religious leaders this time came within the state and said, no, what Imam is doing is purely Islamic. It's a form of dawah. And for me too, I had challenge with some young Christian who came and said they like my preaching on television when I preach about Jesus Christ, but when I dialogue with the Muslim, they hate it. And one of them banged my table, and some of the young people in the office rushed and thought he was hurting me. The work is dangerous. I tell you, we feel threatened. There are instances where we tell ourselves when there are early warnings of conflict, we should run from where we are and move to where we feel safe, like hotels, where there is close to military or security. Such threats are there. But we have given our lives for this thing. And we are winning more people. People are joining the bandwagon of peacemaking. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Father. So I believe many of you now cannot wait to raise your question. Okay. All ladies? Very good. So please stand there. We are the typhoon, exactly. Okay. So could you please make a line? Yeah? You can ask in Indonesian, English, or Hausa. But Father will translate it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Namanya ya Mbak, terima kasih.
It's not open.
It's not yet? Not yet on?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, my name is Emma Rahman. I'm from Muslimah Ahlul Bait Indonesia. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I just want to ask, since you're from Nigeria, for us it's also very, Nigeria is very, very familiar, it is in do you know Sheikh Zaki? Yeah, so how do you feel about him? So it is very, because, you promoted peace, and then how is in Nigeria, how is the people in Nigeria support him, because he was really oppressed, right? So this is my question. Thank you.
Wonderful question.
Thank you, Mbak Emma.
Okay, first I would like to thank both of you for being here and share the good things about interfaith. Okay, my name is Hindun and I have two questions. But before that, I want to, we know that due to the conflict or riots, women, girls, boys and men, they have different needs and they are affected differently. And I believe that gender lens will help them to determine what is peace means, what is justice means, and etc. So my first question is, what is interfaith means to you in terms of gender and social inclusion? Second question is, what is your challenge in addressing this issue? Thank you.
Wonderful questions.
Okay, let me explain myself. I'm Linda. I'm from Young Interfaith Peacemaker Community Indonesia. We have 3 friends here and me. So actually, let me explain about our background, about our community background. So we are students, we are community, we are youth-led students organizations and some university that focus in giving peace campaign and peace education to university students, and we've been making this campus peace movement since 2012 through some seminars, through some peace camps, etc. So we are in 5 cities already, and we just started in Jakarta. So, but my question is so related to our background. My question is, based on your experience, could you give us, as a student, for us students, how to attract or how to invite other youth or other students to be more engaged in peace building? And maybe based in your experience in Nigerians, how do you invite Nigerian youth that may be exposed to violence to be interested in peacemaking or peace building? Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Ya, Ibu.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wati Wardani. I'm a teacher. Thanks Allah. I believe that you exist, the Imam and the pastor. Well, I have been with this module for years to teach my students to respect diversity. And one page contains your name, the Imam and the pastor. So I felt so excited and I wasn't able to sleep well last night. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you exist and still alive.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it will help what I'm doing now.
Yes.
I'm working for the Tony Blair Faith Foundation, which is now the Tony Blair Institute. And one of the programs is Generation Global, which is to give opportunity to students to interact one another, to have a dialogue about themselves, about their faith, about the community, about everything about them. So they share and teach one another. So I do not want to give you more questions, but I would like you to say something for teachers that I'm working with and I will be working with. Why so important for the teachers to promote peace to their students?
That's right.
And then don't leave the room before you sign this page.
Thank you.
And take picture with
Thank you,
them.
Ibu,
Thanks
for
so
your
much.
appreciation.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Antriannya kita hentikan dulu karena semakin panjang. Mohon maaf, nanti kita buka sesi berikutnya. Ya, setelah Mas Ihsan.
Two quick, I think very important question to me. From me, I have to be responsible to my donor because that's one of the to build trust in others. Okay, and so I think it also goes with the project and others. Okay, and we know that there are things still going on, bad things, ugly things going on in Nigeria now. And I really want to hear more from you. How do you define success in your work? Because I know that you have been working for 25 years old, 25, but there are things, bad things that going on in Nigeria right now. So I really want to hear what is how do you define success? How you evaluate your work? And secondly, I think the most and important thing that from your work and what we need to learn from is not only the theology of reconciliations, but also the knowledge, skills that is needed to become a good peacemakers. Can you say more about that? Okay. The last thing, one of the most important things I like from the movie is the fact that it was Muslim who start reconciliations, who start the reconciliations, forgiveness and others. I like that, but I don't see that here in Indonesia, for example, because, and that's sad for me because everybody knows actually about that story of the Muhammadan tithe and forgiveness. I really want to hear Ashafa's comment about that. Why there is not enough forgiving traditions in the Muslim world?
Thank you, Mas Ihsan. Yes, please.
Yeah, I will handle those that are not too hard questions, and I'll leave the hard ones to Imam. Starting from you want me to use the talking stick? Okay, well, the people demand that I use the talking stick. I start from the last person. How do we define success? Proliferation, one. Proliferation of religious interfaith initiatives in Nigeria. Where we started, we are just alone. Now, everyone wants to be a part, including the Sultan himself and the leader of the Catholic Church in Abuja, Nigeria, John Cardinal Onaikan. They are now having interfaith forums. Number two, that when Nigeria constituted Nigeria Interreligious Council, they looked for us to give capacity to their secretary generals all over the country. For me, that is success. Success is, in Kaduna, after the signing of the Peace Declaration of Religious Leaders, which of course we fashioned after the Alexandrian Declaration, which failed between Israel, Palestine, and Egypt. We took the document, contextualized it, Kadunized it, Nigerialized it, and Islamized it and Christianized it. And for 9 years, there was no violence in the city of Kaduna after the signing of the peace declaration. For me, that is success. Success for me is that the fight that we usually have over conversion, somebody will convert and the others will challenge, and that has reduced drastically. And if there are issues of conversion, they bring it to our center. And we have done a lot of domestic mediation, including issues of burial. Somebody's parents were Christian, the person died a Muslim. Who buries the person? We're able to handle that. No time for this. But this is for me success. And if you say Imam should talk to something about purely Islamic, I leave that B-C part to him. And for...
What is your opinion of El-Zakzaky?
El-Zakzaky, yeah, okay, thank you. You know, Imam, you are a good man. I'm telling you, he has not stopped helping me. The El-Zakzaky, yes. Sister, I was trying to look at the pictures where we visited him. And when he lost the first set of violence against him, and then the second one, about 1 month ago, we were in his Husmania, and we spoke to his deputy in Nigeria, Kaduna, in Zaria city. And I think they see our center as the only hope now, because both international and local organizations that have gone there to start a mediation between the people that may lead to his release have failed. And so his 2IC said, Pastor Imam, I see you as the only hope now. And we are working on that. And we hope that, inshallah, very soon, and sometimes I say, inshallah, Jesus, very soon, we will get them to reason. We are just doing what we call shuttle mediation. We have met the government. They gave us their position. We have met his group, including his first son. So rest assured, if you have our email, we will tell you how the progress is on our intervention. Time will not permit you to give you the deep things, but something is happening, and we are doing it. The Interfaith Mediation Center is doing it.
Say something for teachers on why interfaith peacemaking. The lady.
Teachers, very important. We went to a school. A 5-year-old child was asked to do an essay and draw a diagram and write narratives over the essay. 5-year-old child. He says, what will you want your life to be? Or how will you want your world to be? And the child drew a drawing, and he drew some people, baby drawing. He said that my world will be clean. I will not throw trash around. Number 2, he said, I don't want to call the faith, he said a particular religious group will be ugly. But if they change, he will give them candy. Now that is a 5-year-old child. Who taught him? The mother says she didn't do that. It means there was a teacher somewhere who started inculcating division in a 5-year-old child. And so it is very imperative for the teacher to learn inclusive communication and teaching styles. And I know the university and our team here will be happy to share with you materials, because we also have materials for training of young people in primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, which is interfaith. We are sharing with this young girl who came out. We'll give her that. So Imam, now it's time to answer the bony, tawny, strong, ironish questions.
Thank you very much for responding to the most important questions. I'll go to the less important question because as a student. The first one has to do with the issue of gender. You know the position of faith
religion and the issue of gender is one of the areas of serious misinterpretation, misrepresentation within our faith, across the world. What is the role of women? What is the part of women in social and public life, even within or at homes, or within our religious institutions? I was so happy I was reading a book I learned about a woman saint. We don't have a woman saint in Nigeria, but you have Sister Khadija in some part of, in somewhere here, and not only the Muslims, including the Hindu, they adore her and used to go to the tomb for pilgrimage. Muslims and Hindu go to Sister Khadija's tomb. Sitri Khadija, maybe Shehat Khadija, something like that. So one shows this a level. But in Nigeria, we don't have I don't know of a Muslim woman saint. We don't have it. Maybe the Christians, they have it, not in Nigeria. So specifically, we know that challenge. But one important thing that keeps us going is that from our faith traditions, in the Quran, we have a whole chapter dedicated to women. Chapter women. It's called chapter An-Nisa, chapter women. And we have another chapter dedicated to the only lady in the Quran, Maryam. Chapter Maryam. It's also why Islam acknowledges her virtues, her value, her dignity, and contribution in protecting her honor. This is very clear in the Quran. However, there's a famous quotation going in peace. It says, there will be no peace in the world until there is peace in our nations. And there will be no peace in our nations until there is peace in our towns and villages. And there will be no peace in our towns and villages until there is peace in our homes. And there will be no peace in our homes until there is peace with the first teacher. Who is the first teacher? It's a mother. And because of this and the role of motherhood in building the nation, in our own culture, we have a tradition that says, if the house is good, it is the mother. If the house is bad, it is the mother.
The good is the father.
So if the house is good, it is the father. But when it is bad, it is the mother. This is a powerful adage in our own society in Africa. I don't know, maybe you have it here. So if anything go wrong, the mother will always be blamed. But when it went right, it is the father. So in the light of this, on these specific issues, what we did in Interfaith is we have a platform called Mothers of Peace. Mothers of Peace platform. We organize Women Interfaith Council. We help to facilitate the establishment. We mentor women organizations. And we have two important ones, the Women Interfaith Council and Women Network of Interfaith Peacemakers. Women Interfaith Network. And this network works with different women from different organizations promoting peace. This is what we've done on that level, and a lot of mentoring is going on to enhance this across our culture. And we make it a mandatory duty that almost 40% of any workshop must have women, because when you say religious leaders, you will not see the women there. So we make it mandatory to bring women teachers, either in religious instructors, to make up the 40%. And that has helped us a lot. So this is what we do on that. How do we invite other students for peacemaking? My fellow student, you do program. Program like this is not for students. Students, young, don't want to sit down for an hour listening. They want to move their body. And I will give you such about 4 important things. First, we do organize peace clubs. Peace clubs, interfaith peace clubs, with special focus on students learning from the scriptural reflections and other things across their faith. They do a lot of social engagement in peace clubs. Number 2, we organize peer mediations. In the school where there's a lot of bullying, or community there's a lot of bullying, we do peer mediations. So we handle the mediation process to students or youth to do mediation among themselves. And you have the backup of people like the professors behind the scene watching how they do it. So giving them responsibility to mediate, to be mediators and peacemakers. We call it peer mediations. We do that for youth. You can do that. Make them ambassadors. And then we give them special award, Ambassador of Peace. We badge them with title of ambassadors, peace ambassador. And when you give that badge, if somebody fight or he bullies somebody, you debadge him. You remove the ambassador. And in public, among the youth, you say, because you have fought, we are removing your ambassador. We are withdrawing it as a moral lesson for others. Number 3, we organize fun fair. Fun fear. Bring different type of foods, varieties for students below the age of 13 downward. Bring them together for fun fair. They do quiz competition around peace. All this happen within the fun fair. And most often, it is the mothers, we encourage the mothers to come with the children, and we do such a programs. And you talk about peace, and they start telling you the concept of peace. And finally, we organize sport for peace. And lastly, but not the least, we do peace festivals, where people bring different drums, different songs, different musics in their own community, and we call it the drum of peace. So they beat the drum of peace and they sing and dance for peace. Even violent dancing, you knock them out. We organize something around that, so the youth become very engaged. Finally, why no enough tradition of forgiveness in the Muslim world? The answer is because of the bad and ugly drivers we have today. We have many incapable religious leaders who are on the driver's seat. We have many mischievous religious leaders who are the navigators. So when you give your car to a drunken driver, what happened? So God save the passengers. So what is happening specifically is we have a lot of bad drivers who promote hate. And when they talk, we trust them. When you trust your religious leaders, whatever they say you believe is divine. You open our heart. That's how somebody is a doctor, is a master, is a professor, is what the malam says. The malam say, the teacher say, the guru say. All his professorship, all his experience in life, he throw it into garbage. He only follow what the guru says. The sheikh have said it. God is talking. It is the prophet speaking. So we enter the honor of the prophet and we put our own greed into it. We pollute the mind of the followers. So that's why the concept of forgiveness, which is deeply rooted in Islam, and you see Muhammad says, you can never enter Al-Jannah. It is a famous hadith. No one will enter Al-Jannah until he has Iman, meaning faith. And no one will have Iman, faith, until he know how to love. And the Prophet say, should I teach you how to love? The companions say, yes, Ya Rasulullah. And he say, go and extend the greeting of peace among yourselves.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alayka. So you extend the greeting of peace among yourselves. It means, I say wa alayka, not wa alaykum, not wa alaykum salam. It's also a controversial area. How do you extend a greeting of peace to somebody who sends you a greeting of peace? So all these are phenomena where they hate speech, they hate drivers, they hide the issue, the values of forgiveness, but they promote the value of charity. Everybody want to give sadaqat. Everybody want to give sadaqat. In Ramadan, we want to feed. We overfeed ourselves in Ramadan. It is only in Ramadan I grow fat instead of growing slim. I bring more people to me in Ramadan to eat. But there are other virtues and values that as a religious leader we don't promote. One of them is issue of forgiveness. Thank you very much. So we need to continue talking to open up so that we can own this. It doesn't belong to them alone. It belongs to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Imam Mustafa. It's the second session of the question and answer. Could you please? Okay, we will make it quick. Please, sir. And please make a line. Oops, sorry. Okay. Oh, skill. Okay. They are ready. Ya, silakan Pak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm from Muhammadiyah. Today is the 14th of October. I think these two Ustaz Muhammad As-Safa and Father James quite aware of that. That on the 10 years ago, plus one day, there was a very significant and historical event where 138 Islamic scholars, chaired by Prince Ghazi bin Muhammad from Jordan, sent an open letter to Pope and all church leaders throughout the world. This is named as a very significant historical event after the Second Vatican Council. And this open letter, which later named as a common word of us and you, a common word, use love to God and love to your neighbor as a common platform. We are aware that before that, 50 years ago, we have the Second Vatican Council, Concilio Vatican Kedua. For us, this very important historical piece, calling for peace, its steam crawling works very slowly. So I would like to have your comment. What makes it work very slowly? Even though we are aware this is very, very important from the appeal from the Catholic Church and appeal from the Muslim world. We noted that in November 2012, the Holy See and the Prince Al-Ghazi sends delegates to Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Could you, for the people who want to ask, could you please make it shorter? Yeah, thank you.
My name is Elma. I'm from Magdalene.co, and just quick question. In Indonesia, there's a different conflict. We have a cyber conflict where the netizen defending their religion in social media. How do you see the phenomenon in here? Okay, thank you.
My name is Nora. I believe that religion is the source for unity, to unite the whole mankind. And then what I'm going to ask you, is it the tolerance? Is that enough for us to bring peace? Or do we need something else? Because if you can see that Nigeria and Indonesia is different, that you can see that we can sit together. But your religion is your religion, my religion is my religion. And then we tolerant we sit together. Is that enough for us?
Thank you.
Is tolerance enough?
Thank you. So, Mr. James, you answer my question, please.
Thank you, sir.
Very short question. So, I would like to introduce my name first. Yeah, this is a joke. So I make a joke about my name. So my name is Moh Johan, Mr. James. Moh, shortcut of Muhammad. It could be shortcut of Muhammad. Moh. Johan, it could be Johannes. So I got both of you. So my question about, I heard in internet about Chrislam new religion, about new religion of Chrislam in Nigeria. So how they work, sir? How they work? The new religion of Chrislam or the Chrislam of temple? So thank you.
Silakan, Mbak.
Shalom, Pastor, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh for the Imam. I'm Fitri. I'm pastor from Oecumenical Churches, one of local churches in Indonesia. But sometimes I'm going to Redeemed Church of God. It's like a Pentecostal church from Nigeria. But I just see, I want asking to the pastor especially because I'm focused for our case here. We have many religions. We have the color of religions in Indonesia. But we have the color of Christianity here. As a oecumenical churches, we have many interdenomination churches, Pastor. And when I heard what you said, I see that's what Pastor and Imam already do. That's out from that box. But I just focus for our case and how to make peace in church especially because in our case as interdenomination we are always have fight. sometimes that's discussion about about denomination and sometimes about the theological thinking. We are always talk about that. And as a pastor, maybe young pastor in there, I just want to think how to make the color of our churches. Thank you very much. I just want to know what your advice, pastor, as a pastor and as a leader for the Christian to make a peace in our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Fitri.
Okay, good morning. My name is Kusuma Sari. I am Master Study of University of Indonesia, and my question addressed to both of Imam and Pastor. It's about gender equality. So, what's your opinion about gender equality, especially the role of women? The role of women in area leadership and judge. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you for sharing your experiences. My name is Puri and I'm a writer. And my questions, there are two questions. One is that from your explanations, I gathered that there are so many entities that are included in the efforts of like building the peace. My question is, what are the challenges and the advantages that you have in order to do that? And the second question is that in the process of forgiveness, I also learned from what your explanation that there are stages and steps. And I also learned from your explanations and from your experience that these steps and phases include also the other side of the persons who are in conflict. So it includes both sides of the groups. What happened if you encounter, I don't know whether it has happened in your experience, but what happened if you have a group that is resistant or not open to even discussion, or they have a very strong belief or position that is hard or not supportive to the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Puri. Next.
My name is Daryl. Well, we already talking a lot about how to live in a peace. But on the other hand, we have to admit, we cannot neglect that each religion has our own principle truth. For the example, for the Christian, maybe have the principle truth about the salvation. Maybe the Muslim has its own of principle truth. My question is how you both keep work with this kind of thinking. You keep your friendship, but on the other hand, you know that you have your principle truth.
Yes.
And in which area, maybe you say to each other, man, when we talking about this, I think we have to neglect it. We have to neglect it.
Okay, so we get your question.
Okay,
thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom. My name is Pamela Cardinal. I often ask myself, if there are so many wars and conflicts because of religion, why in the first place God gave us many religion, not only one belief? Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. So we have 9
Questions.
hard questions. 9 very important questions, how we should divide it. Imam Asafa will go first.
Yes.
You can
I
choose.
went first.
Oh, wait first. Okay, so maybe...
I went first before.
Oh.
Justice demand that he goes first now.
Okay, so, or maybe Father James can answer the question that directly asked to you
Okay.
from Fitri about the color of Christianity.
I think the moderator is very intelligent. Yeah, she's the best, actually, simply the best. Intra-religious challenges can be solved. Jesus gave us a verse that they all may be one, even as I and the Father are one. John 17:21. Now, if you read Matthew 18:15, it gives us Christian Alternative Dispute Resolution Continuum, or Christian Alternative Dispute Resolution Spectrum. We have put a machinery in place in Nigeria to resolve intra-religious crisis. I am the chairman of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria Peace and Reconciliation Committee. So there are pedagogies of doing that, but I think you should sit down and know that the name of your denomination cannot take you to heaven. It is living by the teachings of Jesus Christ. So if you are Catholic, you are Protestant, you are Redeemed, you are Deeper Life, you are whatever church, if you don't live by the principle of Jesus Christ, you will not go to heaven. Our struggles over intra-religious challenges sometimes is from resource. It's resource-based. It's not about how many people you want to take to heaven. It's how many people are in your congregation that brings the offering and the tithe and makes the church flourish. So I think we need an intra-religious training for just pastors and similar for all the imams. If we do that, we'll handle these matters, because 1, 3, 4 days cannot answer that question. You need to give capacity to religious leaders.
So do you want to make a comment on Daryl's question on how to keep the boundaries, even though you work together, but you have your own principles of truth?
Islam say to you is your religion, to mine is my religion. That's right. Yeah, so Imam taught me that verse. He said it severally that I memorized that. You see, we usually say our religions are like products. There are two competing Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. They are all selling cola. These religions came at different times by different messengers and different leaders. I think we say we should not tolerate each other, but we should accept each other. Acceptance does not mean compromising your religion. You accept the person the way he or she is, because you cannot change. Imam has been praying for me to become a Muslim. I've been praying for Imam to become a Christian. So we have all said, okay, keep your religion and let me keep my religion. But the important thing about this is, if you practice your religion, how does it improve your neighbor? If your religion is showing the values that the prophet teaches, that Jesus teaches, then we will not have problems. Islam is peace. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. We should be experiencing double peace. Other religions that I know in these regions talk about peace, Buddhism and others, Sikhism, and all those peaceful religions. Why are we having problem? It's the greed of the humankind. If we respect and do not tolerate, tolerance is negative, acceptance is positive. Because tolerance, if you come out and enter inside my orbit, I will kick you out. But if I accept you the way you are, even if you step into my orbit, I will know you step into my orbit with some understanding. So please, don't tolerate, accept the differences and live by it. Those differences are key values. Jesus is the Son of God. Islam says Jesus is a prophet. Jesus died for me. Islam says he did not die. We have 25 key areas of differences that we have recognized. And we have over 75 areas of common ground. Let's emphasize on the common grounds. Let's massage the uncommon ground, and let's live by it. It pains you a lot, massage, and release the tension. And so we can live in peace. Thank you.
So Imam, are you ready? Oh.
To tell you, Imam is ready.
So let's start on the first question on from the Muhammadiyah. Yeah.
What makes the interfaith process more slowly?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that important observation. And why is this so slow? With a lot of instruments we've developed. In my paper, because of time, I just skipped that. I mentioned contributions by religious leaders. Number one I talked was our common word between us and you. 150 religious leaders across the world make that document, and they sign into it. Religious leaders, in response to Pope John Paul II statement. And then the second one also is the Marrakesh Declaration, where religious leaders, religious and traditional leaders come together to work out to fashion out that document. The third one was by ISECO, Islamic Scientific, Educational, and Cultural Organization, giving the backup to what we call the Muslim human rights. What are the Muslim human rights articles or values? Then the one by OIC, we supported, the Organization of Islamic Commonwealth that supported the child right, the Moroccan Declaration, the Rabat Declaration, which is called the other word, they call it the Moroccan Declarations. And so many instruments such as this are going on. The important thing is, it's not in the forefront of the media. Our lady just spoke, it says, when it bleeds, it leads. When it bleeds, when there's a bloodshed, it becomes the top news. But when you exchange love, you save a child, you save the animal, you save somebody from danger, it's not a news. These, the movers of our world, the voices, the eyes, the ears, the voice of the world, who are the media, either print, electronics, or social media, is what they are influenced by three important factors. One, the publisher, the owner of the media, is what he wants. The second one is commercialization drive. If you pay for it, you get your news on top. And the third one, what they perceive that the audience want to hear is what they give to them. If you want to hear about sport, they give you sports. They don't talk about peace because it doesn't commercialization, it doesn't bring in money. So the values have changed, and that affects what we are doing. However, there are a lot of people working for peace. I was reading that the first interfaith engagement here started dated back to 1991. And in the 90s, there are more interfaith engagement in Indonesia between 1991, 95, 98 than what is happening today. Why? At that time, people blow it out. It was the beginning. Both the government and others are engaged. But at this time around, the media are not buying it because it's not bleeding blood. If Imam and the pastor come and say, today we are going to have a jihad and a crusade, we are calling all Indonesians to go for jihad and all Christians to go for crusade. One must win, the other must lose. And I say, Indonesia belongs to Muslims, don't allow any Christian here. And then he says, no, Indonesia belongs to us, we contributed. We don't want any Muslims in our institutions anymore. You have to be converted before you go to our missionary schools. If you put that, it becomes the news. Immediately before we leave here, it will be issue of controversy. So what is making it go slowly was that the media are not on our side. People are working, and that's why we say continue the work. The future will vindicate us, because the process of peacemaking is a slow process, and the changing attitude. Some people will change immediately. Some people it takes a lot of time to process, because it's about attitudinal change. that give birth to a very good behavior, it takes a lot of time and energy. So the result of peacemaking doesn't come immediately. But we are working. You are doing it. People here are working. This is the future. Thank you.
How is the social media?
Social media. Social media is another important phenomenon. You know, we are talking of the good, the bad, and the ugly religious leaders. You have Google imams, Facebook imam, Twitter imams, and they give Twitter fatwas. They can just give fatwa on you right straightforward. They look at the scripture, quote them out of context, put them there, put a statement, and when you go through it, I rest assure you, they will make you. That's why they make more human beings more killer machines. They use social media to turn human beings to what? To killer machines, promoting hate and bloodshed. However, we can engage. The social media is a tool, like the edge of a sword. It can be used positively or negatively. So how do you use it positively? In our experience, we are working on hate speech, early warning, and early response. In our early warning and early response system, we are using the social media to detect early warning hate speech, anything that will endanger the overall common good of all the nations, of each groups, or a threat to minorities within other groups. Because Rwanda began with media. Hate speech on Rwanda, the genocide began on media. And then before you know it, it changed the minds of the people, and then they start seeing their own brothers, their own cousins as negative, and over 1 million people were murdered within 90 days. So what we are saying here is that social media is good, but you have to use it positively. Please engage. You are the youth who asked the question. Engage the social media positively, identifying hate speeches and denouncing hate speeches and turn it into positive seeds. Put more inclusive messages. Thank you very much.
Father James, the question from Nora, is tolerance enough?
I say tolerance is not enough. You must go beyond tolerance to acceptance. That is the answer. Learn to accept the difference. When the azan is called, learn to accept it. Don't tolerate it. If you tolerate it, you will be angry for nothing because you can't change it. So love the azan, love the bells. In some communities, it is the bell that they ring at 6 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., 12 midnight. These are the gates of time for Christians. Some of us don't observe the angelos and all that again. So, but what I'm saying in essence is this. Accept that they will ring the bell. Condition your mind. Accept that the azan will call to prayers at 4 a.m., 4:30. Learn to block your ears with wool if you don't want to hear the azan. But if you love the song, you will not hate the song. Begin to love the things that your brother or sister wants. The golden rule says, do unto others what you want others to do unto you. That is the summation of the law and the prophet. That is Jesus' law. He said two things: love the Lord thy God with all thy strength, with all thy power, and thy neighbor as thyself. That is all. If you do that, no killing, no Boko Haram, no ISIS, no evangelical crusaders. Everybody will be everybody's brothers and sisters keeper. Thank you.
I disagree with him. I honorably want to disagree. I don't want a Christian to love the azan, except he chooses. Neither will I love the bell of the church when it rings, because I want the bell of the church to be turned into the muazzin. And you want the muazzin to become the bell of the church. So we cannot love them. I, as a Muslim, I will tell you, accept it as a reality. You don't need to love it, but you should accept, and this is the last word you say, accept and respect the other. Even though he sounds noisy, he sounds somehow to you, the muazzin sound noisy. You know, in Switzerland, they have banned the public calling of azan. In Israel, the first reading, second reading has gone. They are going to the third reading on banning the calling of prayers in public. You have to do it inside. So the same applies in some communities where they are powerful. Perhaps they must have banned the Catholic bell ringing. In Europe, we have some examples of that. So what is important is, for me, I would say, respect. Accept the reality. When you hear the sound of any of the sound, or something that you don't like, accept it as a reality and respect it. When you do this, you are acting in the name of Islam, not in the name of the church.
Thank you. So acceptance and respect is more important than tolerance. The tolerance is not enough. How about Chrislam phenomenon?
Haram. There is somebody who came in order to make a name in Nigeria. He said he is promoting Islam. It is not more than a few people coming together and buying airtime. In short, some media houses don't put it because it does not profess what the two faiths profess. You cannot be saying Takbir Allah Akbar and say Hallelujah, praise the Lord in one house. You know, can I be sincere with you? There are certain unpermitted things in our faith that once you do it, you are either to have done Ridda or you have gone to apostasy. You are backsliding in Christ. Matthew says that Hebrew chapter 11 says the just shall live by faith. But when they draw back, my heart shall not have pleasure in them at all. So when you do join Islam, you are drawing back. When you join Islam, you have Ridda, you have left, and the consequences of that. But because we are in a society where we are governed by certain laws, he is left to do his noise. In short, the last time I heard about him was many years back. Probably he's still doing his show somewhere in a corner. It is not a permissive one, it is not registered, it is not accepted, it is not acknowledged. It's just somebody who made noise and he has been ignored. Like somebody who has some problems, they think he has some problems. Because you cannot bring the two faiths together and say you are promoting the two faiths and it will work. One will drop the other. In Islam, you are not permitted to pray in Jesus' name because it's shirk. Shirk. In Christianity, if you don't ask in Jesus' name, you will not receive it. So how can you say you are practicing Islam? It's not possible. So it's just somebody who wants to make some popularity and he started some jokes. Sincerely speaking, I want to tell you, maybe it's on the media somewhere, but it's not conspicuous in Nigeria. And he will not be supported. If you even come to some quarters and do that, he will be lynched by some people who might not be happy with what he is doing. I think they can't accept it. They can't tolerate it.
There is a question about gender equality. Imam has mentioned that Al-Quran has one surah named woman and also Maryam, but still religion always used as tools to discriminate women. Also the same in Christianity. How is that?
Well, there's a lot of cultural influence on attitude and behavior in interpreting scriptures. That's why if you look at Islam look at women across the Muslim world, you see, look at the dress code. They varies from Middle East to Africa, cross to Europe, cross to Eastern Europe, cross to Asia. And across Asia, you see that the dress code, they varies from one to the other. For me, my wife will not go out without the burqa. I have 3 wives. 2 use the burqa. 2 don't use it at all. 1 don't use it at all. 2 use the burqa. 1 refused to compromise at all. She used it. The other one removed it because we are working in Boko Haram territory.
So you have to remove the burqa because security. So the other one will only open her eyes and then close it again. But the other one, remove it totally because you come out, you drive your car, you remove it, you come back, you put it on, you remove it. She decided to remove it. I say, it's your choice. Either to remove it because of security, you have a choice. But the third wife, who is the younger one, she doesn't use burqa at all. Her face is open, So these are wives of Imam in my house. The three of them, when you see their dress code, this is how they choose it. So people now interpret the text to put up what is their own culture about women. Muhammad came to fight for women. All his life, the greater challenge he faces among the Arabs was, how can you say women are equal? The Quran made it very, very clear about who is a woman in Quran chapter 24, from that 30 down to 36. You see what it says about women. Who are the women? إنما المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصابرين والصابرات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات أعد الله مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. The Quran was talking about every Muslim woman who believe, and the one who have faith, and the one who have zikr, and the one who is full of remembrance, and the fasting woman and the fasting man. It gives them equal spiritual energy, equal spiritual space. No one is superior, one is inferior, men and women in Islam. But they have different responsibility. In responsibility of what A need to do, in accordance to Islam, what B need to do differ. However, they have equal spirituality. And women can be an imam. Women can be an imam. She's allowed in Islam to lead women. Women lead women. If all of you are women here, I don't need to come and lead you. Get a woman who knows the scripture to lead. Prayers. What is not allowed is women to lead men in prayers. So there are some certain specific responsibility. Muhammad pays so much price. I remember the king of Makkah telling him, the guy who went to saying, look, they says, he was talking before the king, the Abyssinian king, King Negus, when he talked about women. He said, look at him. They say women are equal. Women, we buy them, we use them, and we discard them. How can women be equal with us? That is the Arabs of Jahiliyyah talking against the Muslims. So in the light of this, for me, they have equal spiritual power, but equal responsibility towards achieving that goal. That is what it is in Islam. And anybody who are promoting this, they are not doing discrimination of exclusion of women, whether in public or in social engagement. They didn't look at the history of Islam. What Khadija has done for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what Salma has done. These are women who have done. Just look at great women behind the Prophet. There's a book called Great Women Behind the Prophet. It's a book that you need to look at what women have done and their contribution. Then you know Islam is more gender friendly than any Arab civilization within its days. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Two last important question from the audience. That what's your advantages in your step to forgive? And also the last question is, why do you think God created so many religions?
Why did God?
Why do you think God created so many religions?
Iman, you want to respond to that?
No, you start with. Okay,
Imam did not remember. He's done.
Exclusiveness.
Can you repeat the last one? The second to the last one.
In one chain is not willing. It's
okay, unwilling person.
Yes.
When somebody is not willing.
Of inclusiveness.
Inclusiveness. When people you want to go and they say no.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Surely, many are called, few are chosen. You may want to extend the hands of fellowship to somebody forever and the person will not do. I think persistence and resilience is the best instrument to follow. If you endure and you follow with kindness and goodness, you adopt the prophet's strategy with the Jewish man, keep sending the message, keep behaving well. People are tired of hearing you say, I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim. Live by the principles and dictates of inclusiveness that is found in the religion. The people will join you. You may want to do peace with people. I say, no, I'm not for peace. Leave the person and go to the next one. Jesus said, when you enter a house and they did not receive you, shake off the dust of your feet. It shall stand as judgment for them on the last day. So you cannot coerce somebody. You cannot force somebody into peace. But you can influence the person by your good characters. Even if it's a devil. There is a wicked king in the Bible. The woman kept going to him, please avenge me for those who have cheated me. The man said, oh, this woman, she overwhelmed me with trouble coming. Though I'm a wicked man, I'm a wicked king, I think to keep her off my palace, I better grant her her petition. So influence evil with good. Go close to the person all the time. You will get one of them one day will think. If he does not think in your time, he will think in another person's time. For me, this is it. Don't run away. Resilience is the producer. And one other strategy is use somebody who knows somebody that knows him that he respects. If it is for peace. If you want maybe some people, Liberian government to obey something to live for peace, tell the Americans. They will make them do it. So we have influencers. Use positive influencers on the people and you will get the desired result.
The last question, Imam.
The last question is, why does God create religions if he wants us to be at peace? Why so many religions? Why not one? He responds, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ فِيمَا آتَاكُمْ, so that he can test you. He can test you because he gave you, you see, God said, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ, haven't I given you 2 eyes? وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ, and I gave you a mouth and a tongue. وَأَدَيْنَاهُ نَجْدَيْنِ, and I gave you 2 ways. I show you 2 ways, negative and positive. Then he went further in somewhere to say, after giving us power of this, then ima shakiran or ima kafura. You have right to make a choice of what is positive or follow what is negative. So that freedom, God cherished freedom. He don't want to impose on us. On the angel, they were imposed upon. Do what the will of God, they have no choice. It's just one way. But we, because human, we are greater than the angels. In both the Bible and the Quran, the theology say human beings are greater than the angels. And one of the greatness is God give us a choice to do positive or negative. Positive or what? Negative. He gave us a choice. And because he gave us that choice, then he need to test us. And you can see yourself in the university. There are different faculties. Am I right? There are different faculty, different area of discipline. You make your choice. Very often you have a problem with your children. Like one of my sons, he just brought from Islamic University in Ghana. I was telling him, please do medicine. Do medicine. He said, Daddy, you know, okay, no. It's okay, do pharmacy. He said, I will not do medicine, I will not do pharmacy. What do you want to do? Geology. I said, why? He said, you want to work with the NNPC, mineral resources. I said, no, forget about that. If you do this, you don't need to work with the government. I will open the big pharmacy for you. You sell drugs and make money and feed yourself and your family. As a pharmacist, people will always come to buy drugs. And if I'm a medical doctor, we have a center. I'm trying to put up a hospital there. You manage the hospitals, so you take care of yourselves. You take care of the institution. You render free medical services to the vulnerable and the less privileged. I said, Daddy. And for 2 years we argue. And he couldn't get admission to geology, the course he wanted to do. And he has the admission. I have friends who will give you this course. And he says no. After 3 years, he went to do communication and what do you call this, media theology or something, media, social technology, something to do with high-tech. Are we getting the point? So what is important is God gave us free will. He knows what is better for you perhaps, but he gives you the free will to make your choice. So it is for us. It is for us to make a choice. Because God wants us to make a choice. He wants to hold us responsible. That's why he gave us variety of saying, he is one, but you are free to do your what? To do your own search on how to connect. He gave us all the tools. Wisdom, eye, sight, this. And that's why I love the story, the Indian story. I will end up with that. My 1 minute says just in time. The Indian story, remember the story of the blind and the teacher? The teacher have 5 blind men in the classrooms, 5 or 6 of them in the classrooms, and he told them to go and write a story about, they should go and touch the elephant, each one, and come and tell what they see about the elephant. The first one hold the trunk, and he say elephant is like a pillar. The second one hold the tails, he say elephant is like a rope. The third one hold the ear of the elephant, he say elephant is like a carpet. The other one touch the thighs of the elephant here, he say elephant body is as hard as a rock. While the other one who hold the nose, the leg of the elephant, touch the inner leg, he say elephant is as cool, as soft as wool. Who is not right out of them? Everyone is right. That is their perception of the elephant. So all of us see God from our own perception. And that's why Quran in chapter 2, verse 62 downwards says, it is he who would define at the end who is on the right course. You just go. So hold to your own truth. I'm a Muslim. I want to live like a Muslim, die as a Muslim. And I have a mandate to call people to Islam. And I want the whole world to be Muslims. That is the second mandate. The whole world to be what? To be Muslims. That is me. Pastor is a Christian. He wants to live like a Christian, die as a Christian. He has a mandate for a greater commission to evangelize in the Mark chapter 16, to call the whole world to Christ. He has that evangelical mandate. He's free to do so. Can we create an open template where everybody will affirm their truth? You see, we promote pluralism, but with distinctive uniqueness, that in our own perception of what we feel about ourselves, without compromising our values. We promote altruism that respects the truth of the other. Doesn't acknowledge, it acknowledges, but doesn't accept, but to respect the truth of the others. This is the reality of our world, and that is what you need to promote. You need to be grounded in who you are and willing to win the other one over with compassion, not with the power of force and coercion. Talk to his reasoning ability. Let him feel, okay, I see reason in you. Because what you see as reasonable, the others see as foolishness. What you see as wisdom, the others see as garbage. So we need to know that and create that. So God did this for us to be able to have a choice and for him to have a say, finally, when he's marking your paper, when it's trying to reward you, to know how to reward you, either you get it right or you get it wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we have learned so much from our distinguished guest today. Thank you so much, Imam Asafa and Father James. And I remember the African proverb, like, if we want to go alone, if we want to go faster, we go alone. But if we want to go further, we go together. So this is so this is the very big work that we should do together. And even though it's slowly, but yes, if we do it together, we can go further. So again, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to thank Imam Asafa and Father James. Let's spread out the love and peace as they shown us today. Thank you so much.
Please. Brother Ihsan and my brother here, and Zainul Abidin. Zainul Abidin, yes, we've been looking for you, calling you the other time you're out. You see, these brothers, including Jackie and others, they've done a lot to make sure these programs happen. We want you, and the ladies, Deborah, remember these ladies, Deborah and others. Please, can we give an applaud for them? Thank them very much for, Thank you very much.